What if the only thing standing between you and the life you dream about is one simple daily decision you keep avoiding? Right now, somewhere in your routine, there is a small action you know you should take. It's not dramatic. It's not glamorous. It doesn't require talent, luck, or money. And yet you keep postponing it. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You wait for motivation. You wait for clarity. You wait for the perfect moment. But what if the perfect moment is a lie? Here's the truth most people never accept. Transformation is never built in giant leaps. It's built in tiny, consistent acts of courage. Not once. Not when you feel inspired. But every single day. The one thing you must do every day to transform your life is simple: keep a promise to yourself. That's it. Because the moment you break a promise to yourself, something dangerous happens. Your brain starts to believe you are not trustworthy. Your confidence doesn't disappear overnight. It erodes silently. Every skipped workout, every delayed project, I'll start Monday. You think you're postponing action. What you're actually postponing is self-respect, and self-respect is the foundation of confidence. People think confidence comes from success. It doesn't. It comes from evidence. Evidence that you do what you say you will do. Evidence that your word means something, especially to yourself. Start small. Make one promise so small it almost feels insignificant. Read 5 pages. Wake up 20 minutes earlier, write 1 paragraph, make 1 uncomfortable phone call. And then do it. No excuses, no negotiation, no debate. Because discipline is not about intensity. It's about identity. Every day you keep that promise, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. You're not just completing a task. You're building proof. Proof that you are reliable. Proof that you are capable. Proof that you are in control. And control is power. If you want to transform your life, stop chasing motivation. Stop waiting for inspiration. Choose one daily promise and protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. This is where transformation begins. The reason this works is not because the action itself is powerful. It's because of what it does to your identity. Most people try to change their results without changing who they believe they are. They say, I want to be confident. I want to be disciplined. I want to be successful. But deep down, they still see themselves as inconsistent, distracted, or unlucky. And you will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. So when you keep one small promise every day, something shifts. You are no longer trying to be disciplined. You become someone who follows through. And once that identity begins to form, your standards start to rise automatically. Let me explain it simply. Imagine 2 people wake up at 5 a.m. One wakes up because they feel motivated. The other wakes up because they decided that's who they are now. The first person will eventually stop when motivation fades. The second person doesn't negotiate. It's not about feelings. It's about identity. Transformation happens when behavior becomes non-negotiable. At first, keeping a daily promise feels uncomfortable. Your mind will resist. It will suggest easier options. It will whisper, skip today, it doesn't matter. But that whisper is the old identity fighting to survive. And every time you ignore it, you weaken its control. This is how self-leadership is built. You don't need a crowd watching. You don't need applause. In fact, the most powerful growth happens in silence. It's in the early mornings when no one sees you. It's in the quiet moments when you choose discipline over distraction. It's when you finish what you started even though quitting would be easier. Those small victories compound. After a week, you feel a little stronger. After a month, you feel different. After 6 months, people start asking what changed. But what changed wasn't dramatic. You simply stopped breaking promises to yourself. And here's the advanced truth: once you master one daily promise, you expand it. Not all at once. Gradually, you stack discipline. You build capacity. You raise the standard carefully so that success becomes sustainable, not explosive and temporary. This is how real leaders are built. Not through bursts of intensity, but through consistency that others can rely on. If you want a different life, stop focusing on massive goals. Focus on daily integrity. Decide who you are. Prove it to yourself. Repeat and watch what happens. Let me tell you a story. There was a young professional who constantly felt behind in life. He compared himself to everyone. Social media made it worse. Every day he saw people launching businesses, buying homes, getting promotions. He felt pressure. So he made big plans, massive goals, radical changes. And every time he burned out, one day he made a different decision. No big announcement, no dramatic reset. He chose one simple promise every single day. He would spend 30 minutes improving one skill related to his career. Just 30 minutes, no excuses. The first week felt insignificant. Nothing changed. The second week felt boring. The third week felt repetitive. But he kept going. Not because he was inspired, because he had decided this was who he was now. Someone who invests in himself daily. 3 months later, something interesting happened. His confidence changed. Not because he had achieved something massive yet, but because he knew something others didn't. He knew he was consistent. 6 months later, opportunities began to show up. Conversations felt easier. Ideas came faster. His growth was visible. But the opportunity wasn't luck. It was preparation meeting time. Here's what most people misunderstand: consistency compounds in silence. When you go to the gym one day, nothing changes. When you save money once, nothing changes. When you read one chapter, nothing changes. So people quit. They mistake lack of immediate results for lack of progress. But progress is often invisible before it is undeniable. Think of water boiling at 30 degrees, nothing happens. At 50 degrees, nothing happens. At 90 degrees, still nothing visible. But at 100 degrees, it transforms. The change looks sudden. It isn't. It was building the entire time. Your daily promise works the same way. Every repetition strengthens neural pathways in your brain. Every follow-through builds internal credibility. Every disciplined act increases emotional resilience. You are training your mind to trust your word. And once your mind trusts you, fear loses its grip. You stop hesitating so much. You stop overthinking every move. You act faster because you've built evidence that you can handle discomfort. That's advanced growth. Not just skill development, identity reinforcement. The world rewards consistency more than intensity. Intensity impresses people. Consistency changes your life, so don't underestimate the power of one small action done daily. It may look ordinary, it may feel slow, but beneath the surface, something powerful is forming. And one day, the results will catch up to the work. Now let's go deeper. The real reason most people don't transform is not lack of ability, it's lack of emotional endurance. They start strong, but the moment it becomes uncomfortable, uncertain, or boring, they stop. We are wired to seek comfort. Your brain's primary job is survival, not growth. So when you try to change, your mind interprets it as a threat. New habits feel risky. Effort feels dangerous. Discipline feels exhausting. And your brain offers you an escape distraction. Scroll, delay, justify tomorrow. But the people who truly transform understand something powerful. Discomfort is not a warning sign, it's a growth signal. When you keep a daily promise, especially on days you don't feel like it, you are training emotional endurance. You are teaching your nervous system that discomfort is safe. That effort will not destroy you. That boredom is not an emergency. This is advanced self, leadership. Most people act based on mood. Leaders act based on commitment. And here's the distinction: motivation is emotional. Commitment is structural. Motivation changes daily. Commitment stays. If you rely on motivation, you will always live inconsistently. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days you'll feel drained. But when you anchor yourself to one non-negotiable promise, your behavior becomes stable. And stability builds momentum. Momentum is powerful because it reduces friction. The first week feels hard. The second week feels structured. By the third week, it feels strange not to do it. That's when identity begins to lock in. You don't wake up asking, should I? You wake up knowing I do. There's a quiet strength that comes from this. You stop seeking validation. You stop announcing your goals. You become less reactive to external noise because your internal standard is clear. And something else happens. Your tolerance for excuses decreases. You begin to notice when you're rationalizing. You catch yourself negotiating. And instead of judging yourself, you simply return to the promise. That return is power. Transformation isn't about never failing. It's about how quickly you realign. Miss a day. Fine. Don't miss twice. Feel tired. Show up anyway. Even at 50%, the win isn't perfection. The win is consistency over ego. The person you want to become is built in the moments when quitting feels reasonable, and you choose not to. That choice, repeated daily, reshapes your character. And character determines destiny. Let's talk about something most people avoid: self-trust. You cannot build a powerful life on a foundation of broken self-trust. And yet, that's exactly what many people are doing. They set goals. They get excited. They promise themselves change. And then they break that promise quietly. No one else knows. But they know. And every time that happens, a small crack forms internally. At first, it doesn't seem serious. You skip one day. You delay one task. You tell yourself it's not a big deal. But your subconscious is always recording. It's collecting evidence about who you are. Are you reliable? Or are you someone who talks more than they act? Confidence is not loud. It's built in private. It's built when no one is watching, and you still choose to follow through. When you commit to one daily promise and protect it, you begin repairing self-trust. You begin proving to yourself that your word has weight. And that changes how you carry yourself in every area of life. You speak differently. You decide faster. You hesitate less. Why? Because you trust yourself. Think about it this way. If you had a friend who constantly broke promises, would you rely on them? Of course not. So why would your own mind rely on you if you consistently break promises to yourselves? This is not about productivity. It's about integrity. Integrity is alignment between what you say and what you do. When those two things match consistently, your identity stabilizes. You stop feeling scattered. You stop feeling like you're pretending. You feel grounded, and grounded people are powerful. There's also something deeper happening neurologically. Each time you complete your daily commitment, your brain releases a small reward signal. Not because the task was huge, but because it was completed. Completion builds momentum. Momentum reduces resistance, and reduced resistance increases action. This is how you rewire your habits without forcing massive change. Small promise, daily execution, quiet confidence. But here's the advanced level. Don't increase the promise too quickly. Ego will tempt you. It will say, you're doing well. Add more. Be careful. Sustainability matters more than speed. Your goal isn't to impress anyone. It's to build an unshakable internal system. If you protect one daily commitment for 90 days, you will not recognize yourself. Not because your life magically transformed overnight, but because your self-perception changed. And when self-perception changes, behavior follows. Everything starts with self-trust. Build that first. Now let's confront the quiet enemy that destroys most potential. Inconsistency disguised as ambition. Many people are addicted to starting. New plans, new routines, new strategies. Monday feels powerful. The first of the month feels exciting. The new year feels life-changing. But what happens on a random Wednesday when nothing feels special? That's where transformation either continues or dies. Real growth is boring, it's repetitive, it's predictable, it lacks drama. And because it lacks drama, most people abandon it. They crave intensity. They crave the emotional high of a fresh start. But transformation is not built on emotional highs. It's built on emotional stability. When you commit to one daily promise, you are choosing stability over excitement. You're saying, I don't need to feel inspired to move. And that decision separates amateurs from professionals. Professionals don't rely on mood. They rely on systems. Think about elite performers in any field. They don't wake up asking whether they feel like training. They train because that's what they do. The system carries them when emotions fluctuate. Your one daily promise becomes your system. It removes negotiation. It eliminates decision fatigue. You don't debate, you execute. And here's something advanced: when you reduce internal debate, you conserve mental energy. Most exhaustion isn't from work. It's from arguing with yourself. Should I? Maybe later. I'll start tomorrow. That mental back and forth drains you more than the task itself. Decide once. This builds mental clarity. It builds emotional strength. And slowly, it builds discipline that feels natural instead of forced. There will be days when you perform at 100%. There will be days when you can only give 40%. Give the 40% fully. That still counts. The goal is not maximum output. The goal is uninterrupted continuity. Continuity creates identity. Once your identity shifts to, I am someone who follows through, your ambitions stop being fantasies. They start becoming outcomes. Because now you have structure behind your vision. And vision without structure is delusion. If you truly want to transform your life, stop chasing new methods every week. Stop looking for hacks. Choose one meaningful daily action that aligns with who you want to become, and stay loyal to it. Loyalty to your future self requires discipline in the present. The work won't always feel powerful, but the results will be. And one day, what felt small will become the reason everything changed. Let me share something uncomfortable but true. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack patience with the process. They want visible results before they've built invisible strength. When you commit to one daily promise, you are strengthening something no one else can see, your internal foundation. And foundations are not glamorous, they are hidden. But without them, nothing stable can be built. Think about a skyscraper. The higher it rises, the deeper the foundation must go. If you want a bigger life, you must be willing to build deeper discipline, quietly, consistently, without applause. This is where most people quit. They look around and see others moving faster. They compare timelines. They question themselves. Am I doing enough? Is this even working? Doubt creeps, and not because the system is broken, but because progress is invisible. But here's what you must understand: invisible growth is still growth. When you read daily, your thinking sharpens long before anyone notices. When you train daily, your strength increases before it shows physically. When you practice a skill daily, mastery develops internally before recognition comes externally. The external world responds to what has already been built internally. So if you stop just because you can't see results yet, you interrupt the compounding effect. And compounding is powerful. It turns small actions into exponential outcomes, but only if uninterrupted. There is also something emotional happening during this stage. You are learning to detach from instant gratification. You are training yourself to value long-term identity over short-term comfort. That emotional shift alone changes your trajectory. Because once you stop needing immediate validation, you become dangerous in the best way possible. You can outlast people, and in life, endurance often beats talent. Your daily promise becomes proof that you are playing a long game. And the long game is where real transformation lies. It's not dramatic, it's discipline. It's not loud, it's loyal. Loyal to the person you are becoming. There will be moments when you question whether it's worth it. That's normal. Growth stretches you. But remember this: doubt is just discomfort in disguise. It does not mean you are failing. It means you are expanding. Stay with the process. Protect the promise. Let the compound effect work for you instead of against you. And when the results finally become visible, they won't feel surprising, they will feel earned. Here's the next level you rarely hear about: leveraging your daily promise to shape not just habits, but resilience. Transformation isn't just about getting better at one thing. It's about becoming unshakable in the face of life's inevitable challenges. Every setback, every unexpected obstacle, every moment that tempts you to quit, these are the real tests of who you are, and your daily promise prepares you for them. When you show up for yourself consistently, even when tired, stressed, or distracted, you are practicing resilience. You are saying to your mind and body, I am stronger than my circumstances. I am loyal to my standards, not my feelings. That repetition builds muscle memory for discipline, and that muscle doesn't fade in chaos. Think about it like this: life will always throw distractions, temptations, crises, opportunities to quit. If you have only relied on bursts of motivation, you'll be swept away. But if you have built a daily practice, no matter how small, you have a lifeline, something you can always return to, something no one can take from you. And here's a subtle but critical truth: resilience compounds just like skills. The first time you keep a promise despite wanting to quit, you feel a small surge of confidence. The next time the surge is bigger. The third time it's automatic. Your nervous system begins to accept difficulty as a normal part of growth, not a signal to retreat. This is advanced growth. It's the difference between reacting to life and shaping life. It's what separates people who feel stuck from people who feel unstoppable. Another key element is emotional control. When you consistently follow through, You stop being a slave to your moods. You start to respond instead of react. You make decisions from your identity rather than your impulses. You stop letting fear, doubt, and impatience dictate your next step. And because of that, your life begins to shift naturally. Opportunities appear in alignment with your new identity. Relationships respond differently to you. Challenges no longer intimidate you. They invite you to rise. This is not a motivational pep talk. It is a blueprint. The same system that builds consistency in small actions scales to resilience, confidence, and influence. So every day treat your promise as sacred. Protect it. Honor it. And remember, the person you become in private through discipline and loyalty is the one the world will eventually notice and respect. Consistency builds skills. Consistency builds trust. But consistency also builds an unshakable core, the ultimate form of power. Do not underestimate it. Now let's explore the ultimate secret most people never realize. Your daily promise shapes not just what you do, but who you are at your core. Every action you take sends a signal to your brain. Every time you follow through, you are telling yourself, I am capable, I am reliable, I am someone who finishes what they start. And over time, that message becomes more powerful than any external advice, course, or motivational speech. Most people think transformation is about learning new skills or acquiring resources. That's only part of the picture. The real transformation is internal. It's about rewiring your identity so that success flows naturally from who you've become, not from effort or luck. Let me explain. When you start keeping one promise daily, the first visible changes are small. Maybe a clearer mind, a sense of control, a little more confidence. People around you might not notice. That's fine. That's expected. Because the real changes are internal and visible and foundational. Then comes the next stage. Your decisions start aligning automatically with your new identity. You no longer have to negotiate with yourself over important actions. Saying no to distractions becomes easier. Saying yes to growth becomes second nature. Your priorities become obvious because your identity already reflects them. Here's an advanced insight: the daily promise doesn't just change behavior. It reshapes your self-image. You stop being a person who hopes, dreams, or plans. You become a person who executes, delivers, and consistently evolves. That shift is permanent. Temporary motivation cannot compete with permanent identity. And here's the most powerful part: once your identity changes, external results follow, relationships improve, opportunities align, skills develop faster, challenges feel smaller. Success is no longer random. It is predictable because it is a natural byproduct of who you've become. But here's the caveat: identity can only be strengthened through repetition. One day of keeping your promise won't do it. 1 week won't do it. It requires months of consistency, building proof inside yourself that you are loyal to your own word no matter what. And every time you honor that commitment, your self-respect grows, your confidence grows, your resilience grows. You become harder to shake, not because circumstances change, because your inner foundation is unbreakable. This is why small, daily actions matter more than grand gestures. This is why ordinary people who follow through become extraordinary over time. Transformation is a silent accumulation of small victories that eventually overwhelms everything standing in your way. Protect your promise. Strengthen your identity. Everything else follows. Your future self will thank you. Now, here's the final truth. The moment everything changes is not when you achieve a big goal, win a promotion, or reach a milestone. It's when you fully internalize the power of your daily promise and make it non-negotiable. You've practiced, you've struggled, you've shown up when it was uncomfortable, inconvenient, or boring. You've built proof inside yourself that your word matters. That proof becomes your superpower. Because now, no external challenge can shake your confidence, no failure can derail your momentum, and no distraction can break your focus. At this point, your transformation is no longer external. It doesn't depend on circumstances. It's not conditional on luck, timing, or other people. It is rooted entirely in your identity, the person you've become through repetition, loyalty, and self-trust. And this is where the real magic happens. Once your identity is aligned with the life you want, every decision, every action, every thought automatically supports that vision. You don't have to force yourself. You don't have to negotiate with yourself. You simply act in alignment with who you are. Think about it. The person who consistently shows up, who honors their commitments daily, becomes unstoppable. They don't wait for motivation. They don't depend on mood. They don't require validation. They have built a system that produces results naturally. This is advanced growth, not flashy, not dramatic, not viral. Quiet and visible, relentless growth that compounds over time into extraordinary outcomes. And here's the ultimate takeaway: transformation is never a single moment. It is the sum of thousands of small decisions that reinforce the identity you want. Every day you honor your promise, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. Every skip day is a vote for the old version of yourself. The choice is yours, and it happens repeatedly, moment by moment. So stop waiting, stop rationalizing, stop seeking permission. Choose one daily promise, protect it, show up, repeat, make it sacred, because the person who emerges on the other side is unrecognizable to the old you, confident, resilient, powerful, in control of their life. This is how ordinary people become extraordinary. This is how dreams stop being fantasies and start being reality. This is how transformation really works, quietly, consistently, and relentlessly, one day at a time. Your life is waiting for you, one promise. Every day, no excuses.